for today's episode of Food and Fiction, I'm going to talk about the food in a piece of fiction that just blew my mind, opened me to the power that is food as a written word, and a book that just really opened my eyes to a lot of things that I hadn't necessarily been aware of before. So what we're going to talk about is The Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison. A lot of people had to read this book in high school literature kind of classes. I know because of that, it doesn't have the best reputation. A lot of people find it boring, but it absolutely blew my mind when I read it. Chapter 13 has this big section about yams. Yams in the United States are actually sweet potatoes. The yam and a sweet potato are two different foods, but in a lot of American pop culture and just like references, when people say yam, they actually mean sweet potato. So that's a cool fun fact. All you have to do is to replicate what's in Invisible Man is just bake your sweet potato like you would a baked potato. So just stab some holes in it with a fork and put it on a pan, and you put it in the oven at 425. I'm using my mini toaster oven because I don't want to heat up the house because it's already hot. I put our sweet potato in the oven, and it takes about an hour to do a medium-sized potato. You just stab a fork in and see if it goes in smoothly, kind of like you do with a baked potato, and that's how you tell if it's done. So while that's going on, I thought we could talk a little bit more about the literature side, since this is a really easy dish. And the past couple of episodes, I've done more with the cooking. So, Invisible Man. Sorry, trying not to sneeze. Chapter 13 has this big thing about sweet potatoes, as I was saying. And I think it's really a powerful opportunity to stop and realize the power that food has, and the function it has other than just being sustenance. Obviously that's really important for any of our characters and for us in our everyday real nonfiction lives. But food also gives us the opportunity to express who we are, to liberate ourselves, to find some sort of awakening. Food often is a way of reminiscing. It brings up homesickness, as the main character shows us. It also, in The Invisible Man, gives him pause to reflect, and he realizes that he doesn't have to share everybody else's opinion. Like, he can be proud of his heritage and be proud of the foods that he loves and the things that he doesn't. And I think while that's really an amazing thing in Ellison, I think it's also really useful to keep that in mind when you're reading other pieces of fiction when characters interact with food, because the food takes on a personality of its own. It's not just a piece of food. Otherwise, the author wouldn't be so excited to tell you what they're eating or what they like. People have really strong opinions about food, and we often think that tells us something about them. So I think that's a really, really cool thing that you can take away from fiction and kind of see if it, I don't know, makes sense in real life or not. Our sweet potato is done, and we'll see what it was like for Mr. Emerson's character. Okay, let's check our sweet potato. And that fork is sliding in really easily, so I'm gonna say it's done. you need to do to eat that Invisible Man style is cut it open and put some butter on it. It's delicious. I am going to fangirl this book a million gazillion times because I think everyone should read it, especially with what's happening right now around the country. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this week's program of Food from Fiction, and tell me what you think. Tell me what you think about Invisible Man. This is something I could talk about all day. Have a nice week.